After the recent patch on Wednesday, the meta got some adjustments, and in this video I'll show you my updated tier list of the strongest comps and my own strategy for climbing on this patch, and then lastly I'll cover how to play all those comps mentioned. Let's first take a look at my tier list for solo ranked. The meta is dominated by AP comps, but a lot of AD comps can still do well, but they are just overall a little weaker. In-game dragons with Shin are by far the strongest comp. Since mages are strong as well, it's a lot easier to transition into the comp, as your early and mid game is a lot stronger. Sohm is another comp that is doing well right now, as it deals a lot more damage after the recent mage buffs. Mage Nomsy deals a stupid amount of damage, and is overall incredibly powerful. I would avoid the Cannoneer and Evoker Nomsy builds though, as they are not as strong. In A tier we have Ragewing Xayah. This comp is still great, but it struggles to beat 3-star Nomsy and Shin boards. You will still get top 2s and top 4s all day with this comp if you have a strong AD opener. 6 Whisper has returned as one of the best top 4 comps in the game, mostly due to the Rageblade Xayah build. It's surprisingly strong, and then you have both Pantheon and Siphon to clean up the rest. Mirage Daeja is still overall a good comp, but you struggle to get much higher than a top 4 without Nunu 3-star or Yasuo 2-star. Seraphine Reroll came out of nowhere and plays really well into the meta, since you can go deep into Mystics with this comp. In B tier, we have Olaf. He's still a good comp, but it requires a much stronger setup than last patch, which is why it falls down to B tier. Rat Reroll has come out of nowhere. After the buffs to Zippy, you have a great front to back comp with backline access as well. If we take a look at the double up tier list, it's very similar, but generally a lot of the 3-cost reroll comps perform better here. Comps like Olaf and Seraphine hit their 3 stars more reliably, which moves them both up a tier, and comps that are more top 4 oriented like Lagoon, Sohm, and 6 Whispers move down. If there is a comp I did not mention here in any of the tier lists, it's a comp that is in C tier or lower. This tier list is based on my personal experience as well as what the data says, so don't let me stop you from playing a comp if it's working for you. Now moving on to my strategy for climbing on this patch. If we look at the meta, we have mostly AP comps in S tier and AD comps in A tier. Therefore, I want to be playing AP whenever possible. Because of this, I always start Rod on the first carousel. This is great for all AP comps, and if I end up playing Xayah or Whispers, I need Rod for Rageblades. From there, I always check to see if Nomsy is Mage that game, because if she is, then I am defaulting towards the Mage Nomsy comp. And I'm primarily looking for an Astral opener to get the Mage board rolling. Additionally, I always pre-level to 4 on 2-1 if Nomsy is Mage, as you want to find her as soon as possible. And other units like Olaf and Seraphine are also 3-costs that you want to hit as early as possible for those comps as well. If Nomsy is not Mage, I tend to default towards Seraphine or Whispers depending on what items I have. Both of those comps are solid in the meta and tend to be less contested than mages. The meta is not very balanced, so you always want to default towards the S tier comps and play A tier comps if you have good openers for them, and play the occasional B tiers when the setup is perfect for them. Other things to note about the meta is that Dragon's Claw is one of the best tank items right now due to its direct counter towards AP, and Shroud is also a great item to slow down all the mage casts, so I would definitely look to build at least one of those in every single game if possible. The strategy for double up is similar. We always check to see if Nomsy is Mage, and if that is the case, then the person with the best Nomsy opener hard forces it, and the other player will be playing a 3-cost reroll comp to make sure that we can hit 3-star Nomsy that game. If she is not Mage, then what we play depends a little. We always try to sync up and have both players play a reroll comp or a fast 8 comp, but we tend to play a lot more reroll in this meta. Now let's talk about all the comps mentioned. I will make in-depth guides on all of these comps at some point, so consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, and in return, you will get access to these in-depth guides as soon as they get released. First up, we have Shin carry with Dragons. This is the level 8 version I'm showing here, but ideally, you're able to go level 9 as well, as you can add in Shyvana to get +1 team size with 4 dragons. You can swap out Idas with Shyvana at level 8 though if the Shimmer item is bad, or if you have great items for her. Bard and Rakan give us valuable synergies and utilities with their spell, so we always want to play those on our board. Mystic is especially valuable in this meta. Items for Shin are the same with Sojin, Archangels, and Gunblade. Tank items want to go in both Terra and Idas. You frontline whichever one is the strongest, and then you put the other dragon and the other backline Mountain Hex. It's an expensive comp you can't always play, but it's very strong if you hit it. Next up we have Sohm Lagoon. Make sure to have a Lagoon opener when playing this comp, as you want to get to the endgame rewards as soon as possible. You want to fast 8 and end up with this comp, although you can easily roll at level 7 with this since you're running a lot of lower costing units. We are running duo carry with Nyla and Sohm here. Items for Sohm are blue buff and then 2 AP items. In this meta, Morello is great as a lot of carries are running healing items, but other AP items also work fine. Nyla wants 1 healing item and 2 other damage items. Since we are running assassins, we don't need IE on Nyla. Put 3 tank items on Silas, and if you get more, put them on Seraphine or Zoe. Next up is Mage Nomsy. I'm releasing a guide on this soon, so I won't go too in depth here. You slow roll at level 7 for 3-star Nomsy and Silas. You can drop down to 5 mages if you want to play something else, based on what the lobby is playing or your augments. Nomsy wants Sojin, 1 healing item, and then a damage item. Put your tank items on Silas, and you can put extra items on Zoe or Xayah as well. Next up is Ragewing Xayah. You have to fast 8 if you are going to play this comp, as all our important units are forecasts or legendaries. Items for Xayah is Rageblade and then 2 AD items. Shyvana wants AP items. Since she drops aggro, we don't really want tank items on her, but don't make Shyvana items until you hit her. Tank items go on Hecarim or Jace. Next up is Whispers. You have 2 options now. You either go Zyra as your main carry or Siphon as your main carry. On this patch, Zyra is generally the best, as you find her early, and you can use her to carry you into a fast 8. Items for Zyra are double Rageblade and then a Hurricane to scale off all the AD she gets from Whispers. It looks weird, but trust me on this one. Don't talk if you don't know. Test it out, then comment and let me know how it went. Items on Siphon are the same as last set with Rageblade, BT, and QSS. Then Pantheon wants BT and 2 tank items. Next up is Mirage Daeja. There is another version of this comp, but the Cavalier version is a lot stronger with the Nunu win condition. You fast 8 and then reroll for Nunu 3-star and Yasuo 2-star to get higher than a top 4. Items for Daeja are 2 AP items, and then the third is either an attack speed item like RFC and Rageblade, or you go triple damage to wipe boards with a wave. Put tank items on Nunu and then AD items on Yasuo once you hit him. I will never look to play Mirage unless the trait is Dawnbringer or Warlord on this patch, but the other versions are playable if you're ahead and you want to pivot into them. Next up is Seraphine Reroll. With this comp, you slow roll at level 7 for 3-star Seraphine, Zeri, Zyra, and Zac. Put Morello on Seraphine, and then AP or mana generating items on her. Put healing, tank, and attack speed items on Graves, and spam Seek's Heralds on Zeri. In this meta, you almost always add Bard in at level 8 for 3 Mystics once you've 3-starred Seraphine. Next up is Olaf. You will slow roll with this board at level 7 for 3-star Olaf, and then you also chase 3-star Diana as well. Hecarim is a flex unit who can be replaced by any other unit depending on your augments, and items for Olaf is RFC and then 2 damage items. Throw your tank items on Pantheon, or on either Braum or Lilia if you 3-starred them as well. At level 8, play either a Mage, Guardian, Cavalier, or Assassin. Which you play depends on your augments, but all of those options are great. Next up is Rat Reroll. We're running Twitch and Zippy as our main carries here. You will slow roll at level 7 for 3-star Twitch, and then go to level 7 for 3-star Zippy. At level 6, you slow roll with this board, but you drop Gnar and Bard. And then you play a different Swift Shot unit until you hit Xayah. Play a Cavalier over Chase until you hit him. Items for Twitch is Rageblade and then 2 AD items. Zippy wants BT, Titans, and then a 3rd damage item. Tank items go on Jace, and Gnar can be replaced by another unit, but generally Shapeshifters is great in this comp to make Jace more tanky. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they're available for YouTube members and patrons, and links to those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.